on a Wednesday night in December against the T-Wolves. I've watched a lot of Pelicans basketball over the year because that is a sport that I pay attention to no matter what, for the most part. So you don't have to bring me in like maybe you've had to bring a lot of others in. But I have seen that exact game, Wednesday, December, T-Wolves. That's an empty game. That's a game where normally it feels like there's about 1,000 people in the stands, very sleepy. You're kind of embarrassed with how it looks on television, and you're just hoping that the Pelicans can win. Now, the T-Wolves are much better than they have been for much of the stretch, as are the Pelicans, and that was a stadium that on a Wednesday night was absolutely full. Why? Because the Pelicans are first in the West. It's not hard to see. If you win, people will buy in, and it also helps when you have a true superstar that continues to ascend and is playing at a legitimate MVP level. That is not exaggeration. What you witnessed last night is something that how many guys in the NBA can do what Zion did? And I don't mean from a physical standpoint because there, nobody can. Nobody can do it how Zion did it. But how many guys can reel off 14 at the end of the game? And because think about this. Basketball players, NBA players, are the greatest athletes on the planet. From a size to athleticism ratio, they are freaks. Like the wildest sporting event that you can be privy to, if you ever get the opportunity, is to sit close to the floor or courtside an NBA game, and you will be blown away. And yet, to be on a court with the best athletes and the best players on planet Earth, and to be able to take over in the way that Zion Williamson did, where you are clearly the best player, and clearly, despite the fact that Rudy Gobert is making $30 million, or everybody else making millions and millions of dollars, no one can stop you. You are making them look like you're a high school kid playing with junior high kids. It's unbelievable. And the amount of guys that can do that in the league, you probably count on one hand. Maybe two. I don't think you're going to have to take in your toes, though. I mean, you are talking about Zion being in truly elite company to take over and just create a win, to actually directly affect the win-loss column. And again, what makes Zion even more incredible is how he did it. Of course, there's all the freakish speed, both horizontal and vertical. I loved how C.J. McCollum described it. He described Zion as being able to go from a standstill to jumping east, west, north, south. Like he can move in any direction. The touch, the ability to finish, all of that was on display. But again, the huge three when you had to have it to cut the lead to 2. The huge steal where he finishes it with his own dunk, getting done on both sides of the floor to give the Pelicans a lead. The huge free throw at the end of the game on the line, huge pressure to take the lead and win the game. It was a sight to behold. And it's coming off of being sick. He obviously responded very well. He was desperate to get back out there. And it's not just the fourth quarter. He scored 19 in the third. So, again, just a complete second-half takeover by Zion Williamson, setting franchise records. Oh, and what I love, so he had the three, the free throw, the dunk. He also fouls out Rudy Gobert in that sequence as well. Pure and utter dominance from number one. Gotta love, too, C.J. McCollum's quote to Zion Williamson. The value of C.J. McCollum, yes, he can still score. Yes, the 40-point game when you need him the other night. Like, the value of C.J. McCollum is still his ability to play. But I wish there was some magical way that we could have of quantifying the impact of his leadership and of his experience, because he continues to be the Gandalf to Zion's Aragorn, as he kind of nurtures him and brings him along and helps him to reach the heights that CJ knows he can reach, because CJ's seen this firsthand. He's seen and played with a guy like Dame Lillard, who I would put in that group of one of the few guys that are able to fully take over and just create a win at the end of a game. He has seen it. He's been in it before. And CJ's a bit interesting, right? It's almost like a John the Baptist type character, or any character. You see it all the time in pop culture and stories, right? Where the old vet, he knows his limitations. He knows he can't, be the best of all time of anything, but he's very good. And that allows him to make very sound judgments about the potential of others. And when he looks at Zion, he knows that this guy can be MVP every single year, all NBA type of caliber of player. And I love hearing Zion after the game last night talk about how CJ basically looked at him in the huddle and said, look, man, you want to be great? This is where you have to do it. You want to be great? This is where you have to take over. Not coddling the young man, not saying, oh, it's okay, this happened. No, saying, hey, man, you want to be the dog that you think you can be and that you deserve to be and that I think you can be. Well, this is the type of moment when you have to do it. Zion said he heard that, he locked in, he believed himself, he went, and he did it. The old Jedi Master bringing along the prodigy because he knows the prodigy can be so much greater than himself. It was, and I always go back to that CJ tweet about Zion, right? Let the praise be as loud as the noise. From when Zion Williamson, it was just constant negative press. From day one, when CJ McCollum got there and all the drama over Zion didn't reach out, blah, blah, they hadn't talked yet. And now look at these two. One other thing that I love about this game, just the final possession, Dyson Daniels D'ing up Anthony Edwards. I mean, the rookie continues to astound and amaze. And him and Jackson Hayes on the floor together is kind of hilarious. They almost look like twins in a lot of ways. But that was just one little tidbit there. I love Dyson. Mar, you are the host of the Flock Up podcast. How did you feel about last night's win?
I feel great, man. What a night in the blender. Like you said, the atmosphere was awesome. Scott Kushner was tweeting out how some people with Minnesota were telling him how they were just really impressed with the atmosphere and how loud it was on a Wednesday, like you said. MVP stuff from Zion. Dyson Daniels is showing elite potential on defense. Like the moments he's already had on that end against some of the best players in the league. Now you add Anthony Edwards to that list on the final possession. Just a great win. And Friday, you're playing the 76ers, who are on a winning streak. I think it's going to be an even better atmosphere. Can't wait to get down there, watch the first-place team in the Western Conference.
Hell yeah, man. And you look up today, what is it, 22-11 now? Tied for first place in the West with the Nuggets,
yes,
I believe, is what I saw. And I think you may actually have the tiebreaker over the Nuggets. And so you are right now technically first in the Western Conference. Just it's still a pinch yourself, this can't be real sort of season from the New Orleans Pelicans and all of David Griffin's original vision from the time when they lucked into that first overall pick is now coming to fruition. And I mean, where's the ceiling on Zion? Like how good can he be? Because the rate of improvement right now is truly shocking. In terms of, like, he had done some interesting things when we had seen him play, and he'd put up weird numbers where it was like, you know, nobody against Shaq has had this amount of paint dominance, but it was never the full 30 a night, just take over, I am unstoppable, nobody in the league can handle me, that we are seeing nowadays. And you would have thought that maybe a rim protector like Rudy Gobert would have been bad the same way that the Jazz have kind of presented problems for Zion Williamson this year, but no. In that second half, remember, 19 in the third and then 14 in a row to end the game. So it's like, I just don't know where it ends when you've seen so much drastic, rapid improvement over the first couple of months.
There is no ceiling. The ceiling is the roof. I mean, watching Zion go against Gobert was so much fun. To see a 7-foot, multiple-time defensive player of the year duck his head out of the way when Zion's dunking on him to avoid contact, that's a cool moment. That's going to make the crowd go crazy. And it's not just his scoring. He's passing really well, out here making three-pointers, extending his range. The improvement on defense has been huge. I think we're going to see even better basketball out of Zion down the stretch, and that's a very scary thought.
Yeah, man. So fantastic win for the New Orleans Pelicans. Back in action Friday night in the blender against the 76ers. Now 15-4?
15-4.
15-4 at home. So, again, if you have committed your discretionary income to the Pelicans to watch them in that stadium, they have rewarded you. Always love to see that. And now for the first time, Mari, you know what else you're doing? We always talk about the Pelicans needing to gain heart and mind share in New Orleans, and obviously that's happening because they're winning like we've talked about. But now, too, like every day somebody else is coming to the table, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to turn on this Pelicans game. And in the past, it felt like the majority of those kind of big moments where everybody did kind of focus in, they would disappoint, and most people would turn away and say, oh, see, this is why I've avoided it so long. It feels like more and more now they are consistently winning those, and it's getting people to buy in. And just the amount of chatter that I hear on the streets kind of floating on the air, I've just never seen it before.